Since the early 1900s, we've seen many different versions of aliens on screen. Some of them are hilarious, some of them are scary, some of them are just normal looking people that they call aliens, I don't know. 1902's A Trip to the Moon, for example, where the actual moon itself in that movie was scarier than the aliens. A Trip to Mars then came out in 1910, and the aliens were a lot different. See here, Danish director Holger Madden made the aliens peaceful, which is nice, we like peaceful aliens. And then come 2002, M. Night Shyamalan made them absolutely terrifying. Just ruined my childhood with this one. So the idea of alien life is intriguing and plausible, or batshit insane and laughable. It depends on who you ask, really. And with all these UFO videos being released now, one's gotta ask, what the is up with UFOs and the Pentagon? What is going on? Is this real? I thought this was a joke. The guy from Blink-182 is like, yeah, they're real. I'm like, you're from Blink-182. Are you real? So here to catch you up on the not so recent phenomena, I'm Taylor McWaters and welcome to What the Wednesdays. So it's hard to believe in aliens and UFOs. I mean, right off the bat, we all grew up watching aliens on TV shows and movies. It would be like if scientists all of a sudden were like, hey, you know Mr. Krabs? Turns out he's actually real. He's laundering money under the sea. That's the main problem. It's like, what? What are you talking about right now? Like, no, this is a made up thing. That's from a TV show. Aliens are made up. They're not real. Now, we haven't seen any photos or videos of aliens yet, but thanks to the Pentagon, we're now getting a closer look at tons of unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs as they're referred to now. Because you know, UFOs are, that's some old we don't want to call them that anymore. And it turns out these 3 recent videos are very legit. So yeah, the Department of Defense released these videos to clear up any misconceptions about if the footage was real or not. It was leaked, and then people are like, you know what, the CGI is really good. This is CGI, right? So one of the pilots who saw one of these UAPs back in 2004 told CNN that it moved almost like a ping pong ball bouncing off a wall.
Did you hear the beat to Mario there?
But back in 2017, a $22 million defense program was put in place called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or ATIP, if you want to call it that as well, that works. Its purpose was to study military encounters with these UAPs, and over time, more Navy pilots were coming out with their story. Eventually, come 2019, senators felt the need to be briefed on these sightings. Like, it's not a bit anymore. What are these? Are these things actually a problem? Are they sent from different countries? Do we know where they're from? So after a vote from the Senate intelligence community in June 2020, it was agreed that UAP reports get added to the Intelligence Authorization Act for 2021. This is huge news. They're basically being like, hey, aliens, they're real, kind of, let's talk about them. They're taking them seriously, which is a good step. So this past December, a coronavirus relief package was passed by Congress, and in the $2.3 billion package was a stipulation that requires the Department of Defense and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence to release this big report on UAPs within 6 months. We got a countdown. They're like, hey guys, movie's coming out. Either it's going to home release or it's going to theaters. We're releasing this shit. Doesn't matter. We're out of time. So that's why more and more footage is coming out now. That's why it's trending more and more now. It's not being filmed recently, it's just being released recently. And according to the Times, these 120 incidents that were studied, the US military is actually not responsible for those 120 incidents. So who is? Now let me just say that they don't think that it's aliens per se, but they do need to get to the bottom of it because this technology in that of itself is wild. These crafts are hovering, they're moving at insane speeds, they don't look like anything that were flying on Earth, they don't get picked up by radar, so they need to know where these things came from. If they're advanced drones sent to spy on the military, it's kind of important to find out who sent them, no? Oh, a craft that can travel at 13,000 miles an hour that has no propulsion system or windows and it doesn't give off any heat signatures? Yeah, it's probably a duck. It's probably a drone or a duck. Okay, cool, say it's a drone. That's amazing. We have a drone that can do all that. Fantastic. No more Delta flights, no more red eyes. Great. People will laugh and say that first. It's just a drone, it's not that fascinating. Recently, a former Navy pilot, Ryan Graves, spoke out to 60 Minutes, and he explained that these UAPs would pop up during training exercises every single day for at least a couple of years. Now, this is news to us, but this has been an actual military threat. Unidentified flying objects sounds funny. It sounds like aliens are like, where are you going? But it's scary for these pilots. Like if I'm swimming in a lake and I'll feel something, I'm like, I'm out of there. F that lake. If you're flying and you don't know what's around you, flying around you, that's 10 times as scary. Maybe it's not. It's close. Graves himself said that if these were tactical jets from another country that were hanging out up there, it's an issue. That itself is a problem. But because it looks kind of different, like one of them looks like a dreidel almost, but because it looks slightly different, we're not willing to actually look into the problem and stare at it in the face. We're just happy to ignore the fact that these are out there, just watching us every day. UAPs don't always have to be a flying saucer either. Nothing has to be controlling it. It doesn't have to be a ball or a tic tac or a pyramid. I mean, look at Oumuamua for example. Oumuamua was this mysterious object that flew into our solar system years ago. It was first discovered in October 2017, and it was the first ever interstellar asteroid detected by humans. That's a big deal. Comets' technical names begin with the letter C for comet, and asteroids as well, the letter A. Now with Oumuamua's discovery, they have made an entirely new classification letter, I, for interstellar. The word Oumuamua translates to a messenger from afar arriving first, which sounds cool. That's a cool name to pick for it. And also it's fun to say, Oumuamua. Oumuamua, it's nice. And scientists are leaning towards this object being a UAP or some type of alien technology. Because the object is long and thin, they kind of referenced it to be like a giant cigar-shaped asteroid. Now it shot across the cosmos like a comet, only it didn't have a tail, which is odd. So the first thought was, okay, maybe it's hydrogen blasting off of the object, and that's what's causing it to whip into our solar system. But the tricky thing is that Oumuamua changed its mind on its destination, it seems. The object, measuring at about 2,500 feet long, came into our solar system, and instead of orbiting around the sun and then back again like most things, it just left. It changed its mind. The Spitzer Space Telescope didn't detect much heat coming from the object, and based on its size and the trajectory of the sun, the object has to be extremely shiny. They're predicting that it has a reflectance that is 10 times higher than previously studied solar system asteroids. So what is it? Could this thing be an interstellar visitor? Is this advanced tech that we can't even comprehend yet? Like if you showed a caveman a Nintendo 64, they wouldn't even know what they're looking at. They'd be like, this is nothing to me. What? Maybe it's one of those scenarios where we're like, oh, we think it looks like a rock and we think it's doing this, but really it's this insane shit. Maybe it's Star Trek, we have no idea. More signs point to this thing being an interstellar visitor because of its odd rotation. See, it rotates every 8 hours in like a weird way too. It's not like, you know, a spinning turd launching through the cosmos. It's like, it's an odd rotation. It's an odd rotation, you know, one of those odd rotations. It rotates every 8 hours, so if it was an interstellar comet, the tail propelling it at insane speeds would not let it spin like that. Like something would happen, it wouldn't just spin randomly and then just decide to off out of the solar system. Now it's also fun to look at some reports that turned out to be nothing, because those exist too. Not everything is something amazing. Like for example, when astronaut Tim Peake was aboard the International Space Station, he saw what he thought was a UFO or a UAP, but it turned out to be droplets of Russian cosmonaut pee. Yeah, it was space piss. It just reflected the sunlight and it looked cool. So all these scientists are like, what is it? It's spinning and it's shining and the reflection is, that's pee. It's just, yeah, it's on the window, it's pee, sorry. But these 3 videos that we're showing in this video are actually confirmed to be something else. I mean, look at that thing, it's flying. So at the end of the day, I'm not trying to convince anybody that aliens are real. I'm not Tom DeLonge. All I'm saying is that these sightings and the footage is verified and they don't know what it is or where it comes from. That's it, you can't argue it. But now I want to hear from you guys. Do you believe that we're truly alone in the cosmos and that these UAPs are just drones, or maybe it's a hoax, or maybe the footage is somehow fake? Or do you think aliens have been visiting us this entire time and we're just now beginning to take it seriously? Let us know your thoughts, concerns, theories, and comments down below. Thank you so much for joining us on What the Wednesdays. I've been your host, Taylor McWaters, and we'll see you next time on Life's Biggest Questions. Peace.